All right, hello everybody. This is my 4-week project, and for this week, I decided to do decided to try and fix my family's weed eater by kind of tinkering with it and seeing if I could fix the two-stroke engine that was inside of it. So in this video, I'll be showing you kind of how I took that apart. It's like a shortened version. It's already mostly disassembled, but here's kind of the shortened version of how I took that apart. So as you can see, the engine is mostly disassembled. This part on top here is the housing. That's where all the little explosions to keep the engine run. I just took the spark plug out, which is that white part, and when that comes out, you are able to undo everything else and take it off. This part right here is the clutch housing. If you unscrew a little bolt in the front, then it comes out, and right in there where I was pointing is the clutch. This right here is called the flywheel, and that keeps the momentum of the engine going so it doesn't have to constantly explode. It's just every, like, however long it is between explosions. This part right here, I'll go into that. That bearing is the main problem with this engine. So, right now I'm going to be taking the piston head off of the piston. Since it's a two-stroke engine, there's only one piston and one cylinder. Hold on, I think I have to go get a screwdriver. Anyway, so what I'm going to do here is just poke out this little thing, and I poke myself with that, but this little cap which lets you take out a little, I don't remember the word. Basically, it's a little tube that connects the piston head to the piston rod. And there you see, I poked it out. You can kind of see it on the table there. And so now we are left with all of the individual components because I could not figure out how to get the piston components and the little shaft there away from the rest of the housing. Right there is the little exhaust component that hooks onto that housing piece. That's where all the exhaust goes. That's why you can see that. Okay, so let's just get all this stuff out of the way, and I will show you what the main problem with this engine was. So, as you can see right here, when I turn this little shaft, the output shaft of the engine, it turns, but it's pretty difficult. There's some rust, and the bearing doesn't turn great. So I imagine that is what part of the problem. And I'm just checking my hand because I poked it earlier. And this, I believe, is the main problem. So I'll just show you right here. The bearing is very rusted. I don't know if you can see. I think I try and get it in focus here. If you look closely, that bearing is rusted, and so when you put it on there, it doesn't turn at all. The shaft turns because there's a little bit of play between the bearing and the shaft, but the actual bearing doesn't turn like it should, and so that keeps the engine from running when you turn it on. Basically, the engine, there's too much friction and it can't keep itself going. Getting this in focus here. There you go. So now you can see a little better that bearing just will not turn because it's so rusted and seized from the wear and tear of using this weed eater. So that is why this project is unfixable and why I couldn't really show you the assembly part, because there's no point in assembling a destroyed engine. And here I am just going to be showing how I got the other output shaft parts of the weed eater apart. Basically, there's just one or two bolts that keep those two rods together with this little middle piece. Inside here, I don't know how well you can see, but there is a little shaft that turns freely inside of there, which turns the head of the weed. Alright, and right here you can just see all of the other components that went into putting this weed eater together, or I guess in this case taking it apart. It's all kinds of bolts and nuts and all plastic pieces. So that was my 4-week project. Again, just taking apart the motor because it's kind of useless to put it back together. In the future, I hope that maybe I can find one that is worth putting back together, but for now, there really wasn't any point. I guess it was really fun to take this thing apart because I got to see the inner workings of this two-stroke motor and how it should work, and obviously not how it did because it doesn't work. I guess thanks for watching. Check out some of the other projects on Vision Tech's channel, and I'll see you in the next project.